And when they had that down there over COVID,
Yeah.
they literally didn't go into a big office building, we're talking about, not downtown,
Yeah.
for a year, they still haven't paid for it.
Well, a lot of people
And-
aren't going back to the office even
No.
after that.
It's gonna be a lot of buildings from down Dallas gonna eat it now.
Yeah.
But like you said, there's not a call for it anymore. It's just not. And a lot of people's gonna hurt by that because they don't need those big offices. And the deal is people say, well, you know, how do you know to work at home? You know how to work at home. You got
Productivity.
people, all you have to do is productivity, and you can get on their little, what is that? That's not a website, their IP number, and you can tell how many
This is your
hours they're
first
working a day. So,
Yeah,
so I
there's
mean, you
different
can
ways to do it.
yeah, you can get technical with this stuff, and so if they're doing 6 hours.
Why you gotta give me
or
one of
5
those
hours,
stand up?
when they should be doing 8 hours, you can let them go.
Well, most of the time, when you could get more work out of 5 hours than you could at 8 hours whenever they're in the office, because people spend time talking.
And sometimes you can, but sometimes I'm calling people up and I'm hearing dogs in the background and kids.
Oh, yeah.
And then I can't even do business. I'm having to sit there and mess with that.
Yeah.
As long as they keep away from their family in an office
works.
building, you're fine.
That's part of it.
But when you have them in the background and you hear kids and they're trying to talk to their kids and their dogs.
Yeah. We have to let people go all the time
I bet you do too.
because whenever they're going through the interview process and hiring process, they're like, oh yeah, I've got so you know, we have to say you have a special room that's away from the house, you know, away from the family dogs.
Sure.
No kids, and they're also, yeah, I can do it, I got it, and then you start listening to them, and even during training,
Yeah.
because we have like 8 weeks of training, as soon as we start to see it, then you got people like, oh yeah, but my babysitter fell through, so now I've got to try to keep my, you know, take care of my baby at the same time that I work. I'm like, no, it doesn't work that way.
Yeah, and what's bad is you've been on the motel, I'm having training for a month or 6 weeks to get them on the front desk. And if you train those people and they got this stuff going on, you could just blow money and it didn't make you any money.
Yeah.
I mean, you just have to eat it for 6 to 8. You probably have to eat it for 4 weeks, don't you? Get them all trained, see? And then if you start hearing dogs and stuff like that on the background, I mean, that money was just thrown away.
Wasted. It cost me about $6,000 to train somebody, and I'm training, you know, during peak season, I'll train 150 people a month.
Oh, I can believe it.
So it's.
I talked to Eric Stugel the other day. He said he lives over by you too. So, but I didn't know. I thought he had 3 dealerships. He's got 6. Keeps him busy.
Yeah.
He got a plane. I had a plane for a long time, a PA-32, a 6-seater. But he's got one of the nicer ones. Mine was about a 67 miles. I had to keep it in jack, autopilot and all that stuff. I took all my cameras right now. But
Is it 3 o'clock?
yeah.
Okay.
Is Danny gonna be here?
No, Danny is in Ireland.
He's what?
He's in Ireland.
Well, why is he there for? How do you go over there?
Have fun.
Yeah.
He could have took us.
His daughter did.
Okay, we're gonna
His
call
daughter
the.
took him?
No, he may have taken his.
I think he paid for it.
Oh. Okay, we're gonna call the meeting. It's now 3:04 p.m. on a Tuesday, the 28th. And Jim, would you like to? Oh, I need to call roll call. Let's go ahead and pray.
Let's just stand up. We'll just pray.
And Janet, you like salute?
Yes.
Okay.
Heavenly Father, we thank you for this day. We thank you that everybody's coming here is healthy. We ask you to bless them and prosper them. We ask you to let us to work on this meeting and do the best for the community and for tourism. And in Jesus' name we pray, amen.
Amen.
So we'll start doing the flag now. So I pledge allegiance to the flag
of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Now do the roll call. Trustee Anthony here. Trustee Reed.
Here.
Chairman Shear. Trustee Thorpe.
Yes.
Trustee Patel.
Yes.
Okay.
And then we do have, they've
Or
already.
somebody gonna come in to,
They've already been.
oh, you've already done it, okay.
So they should be on.
I did my Friday.
I did mine Friday.
Okay,
There you go.
all right, so we're,
Vote as president on the roll.
oh, okay, thank you. Trustee Hunt.
I'm here.
Trustee Kuykendall.
I'm here as well.
Okay, the next order of business is, they've already gone through the oath of office for Matt, for the Durant Area Chamber of Commerce representative, and for Kara Kuykendall, which is representing the DIE, the Durant Industrial Authority. And at this time, I would like to make a motion that Matt Hunt become the new chair.
Don't we have to approve minutes first
Oh,
and financial?
oh, okay. We thought we were on that subject. If everybody look over their minutes. Do you have any corrections or?
I'm gonna make a motion to accept the minutes as read.
How much do we have in the bank this time?
We're gonna get to that in just a minute. I'll second that.
Do what?
We gotta vote on this first. Approval of the minutes.
Do we?
And I second it.
Did you tell guys you have to put that on?
Oh, ready?
No, yeah, just put that.
And then we'll
There we go.
review the financial, we can vote on this. Trustee Anthony, yes. Trustee Patel?
Yes.
Trustee Thorpe?
Yes.
Trustee Hunt?
No, I wasn't at the last meeting.
Okay. And Kuykendall, do you have to abstain?
Yeah, I would abstain too because I wasn't
Trustee
here.
Reed?
Yes.
Okay, Jim, now we'll go over the financials.
Okay, just to note, there are no minutes from last meeting because there wasn't a quorum.
Oh, okay, so this was for the meeting, what was that day?
It's at the very back, it's in the packet.
We have March 26th here,
Yeah,
and then the meeting on April 4th, they just state that there was no quorum.
What page is it on?
5 and 2 to 5.
2 to 5?
that wasn't April the 4th.
That was March.
That was the 29th of April, Tuesday
Oh.
the 29th, correct?
That's right, but this is wrong. That would have been the April 28th, probably.
Yeah.
So is this
What
wrong
the-
meeting, minutes, March 26th?
No,
March-
this
Say
one,
April 30th.
this one that's just a single page by itself, it's page 5, listed as page
I
5.
thought she said from 2 to 5.
There are minutes from pages 2 through page 5.
Right.
The minutes on page 2, 3, and 4 are from the March 16th, 2024 meeting, while page 5 is the meeting that occurred on April 4th with
April
no
30th.
quorum.
But it should have said
But
April
it should have
30th.
said April 30th.
Okay, the financials, the current balance, Jim, is,
So are we okay in the March 26th? And saying we're okay in those minutes or the April 4th?
We're okay on both of them. We just had to make there is a change, an amendment to that meeting. It's just noting that there was not a quorum available
Sure.
on the page 5, Jim.
Yeah, I got it.
okay, and if you look on page 7, that's the current balance in our account. This is just through March the 31st, which is 633,461. And again,
Now,
Grace
this is
has
all
done,
checks that are written.
yes,
It's not-
yes, sir. Grace does a wonderful spreadsheet for us to keep up with all that. It's too small for me to look at.
That does create a problem, doesn't it?
Does anybody have any questions on the financials?
On the
So-
Keystone broadcast, are we doing pretty good on that?
Pretty good, as in,
Keystone.
it's a yearly contract that we signed with him, and if you've listened to any of the broadcasts, we are definitely, the Discover Durant is definitely the banner advertiser that we've got, so.
This is a yearly contract, so it comes up in June again, or?
Whenever they get ready to present it, and I'm not sure when he does.
So the balance, but going back to the balance in the bank, the 3/1 through 3/31 amount was 633, 461.14. It looks like the 4/1 through, like the April, the amount was 599, 316.33.
Oh, my apologies, I didn't get.
So, is there what we currently have in May available here, or is it?
This is the closest statement that we get.
Okay.
It's basically
So
a month
but the
behind.
number closest to what's probably in there today is 599, 316.
Well, on 14, you got 651.5. What's that?
On 14.
Mm-hmm.
Are you looking at the bank statement, Jim? What's the page number?
I'm looking at 14 on 651.5.
On 14,
What is that?
that's our budget spreadsheet,
That's what?
our budget spreadsheet that we're gonna
The
look
current
over.
budget.
This is gonna be the one we're gonna.
Matt,
vote
to address what you're asking, we have not been presenting that, but we will be glad to present that. It is on the spreadsheet, however, that's it begins on page 9. And all of the checks that have been written today, but there is not a total on that. Those are just the individual checks that have been written.
Okay.
But if you want to request that we do that, we could easily have that balance for you at each meeting. It would be good,
Yeah, I
because
think so.
the
Just-
month is almost closed out at this particular
Right.
time. We
Yeah,
just
by
don't
the end
have
of
a
the month, I
statement.
mean, if we say how much is in there today, it's gonna change from last month.
Right.
So we're always, if we're looking at it, we'd be looking at it 30 days in arrears, when
True.
we could be looking at it a little more
Sure,
current.
30 months
More
behind.
current.
Okay.
Okay. Discuss, consider, and approve for elections for the trustee officers. I would like to, make a motion for Matt Hunt to be the new chairman.
Well, let me ask one more question on this, it said, audit accounting fees, what is that? That's on page, it's on page, I guess 10, right in the middle of the page.
Okay, I'm not seeing that,
I'm not seeing
Jim.
Are you
audit.
talking about the line item for prices printing
It's,
that we put under audit / accounting
it
fees?
says CPA and audit, job listing, do you see that?
That's what it was.
That's-
It was an advertisement for that position that we advertised for, that the trustees advertised for.
You said that was on page 10?
I just didn't understand when it said audit.
We were trying to get an auditor.
Yeah.
We were
Okay.
advertising for one.
Yes.
I've got it.
So
It's
we-
not,
we
it's
have-
not an audit fee yet.
Well, I understand that, I just asked him what it was for, so with this audit, we advertise in our newspaper and internet both?
We advertised on the Municipal League, the OML, which is what was suggested by the attorney, because he was the one that told us where to advertise it.
We voted on that too.
And we voted on that. You're right, Grace, we did.
So, I understand, what it is, it's still on the internet, right? On the job?
It expired. That was like a 30-day listing and it has expired a while ago.
It was for $40?
Yes. It was 20 for the CPA list and 20 for the audit list.
Yeah. And the reason that was a reimbursement was because there is not a physical way of doing that unless you write a check. There's no debit
It
card.
had to be paid with a credit card, so.
We had to pay it with a credit card.
Got it.
Okay, any other questions?
Not for me.
Okay, well, that's a shocker. Okay, again, I'd like to make a motion for Matt Hunt to be the new chair for the upcoming 24-25.
I second.
Trustee Anthony, yes. Trustee Patel? Trustee Thorpe? Trustee Reed?
Yes.
Trustee Hunt?
Can I vote?
You can abstain if you want.
You can.
Abstain.
Trustee Cackendall?
Yes.
Congratulations or condolences.
Yeah. One or the other, we'll see for you. No.
Can't do anything without the rest of the team.
That's true. That's true. Would the next one be vice chair?
And then discuss and consider, I guess we need a
Vice chair.
vice chair.
I'd like to nominate Debbie Anthony if she would accept that position.
Would you like it, Jim?
You what?
I would accept
You
it.
talking about?
Vice chair. Are you gonna put up with me for another year?
We have a new one on the board, that's the business manager.
I know. So he can take over a lot of stuff. Yes, I accept it.
I'll second.
Trustee Anthony, I'll abstain. Trustee Patel? Trustee Reed?
Yes.
Trustee Thorpe?
Yes.
Trustee Hunt?
Yes.
Trustee Kuykendall?
Yes.
And then
And
we
then
have
we need to fill my position, which was secretary slash treasurer, and I would like to throw someone else under the bus. Kara Kuykendall, would you be so gracious as to fill the new secretary treasurer position?
Okay.
I second that motion.
Trustee Anthony, yes. Trustee Patel? Trustee Reed?
Yes.
Trustee Thorpe?
Yes.
Trustee Hunt?
Yes.
Trustee Kuykendall?
Abstain.
Oh, okay, now we're gonna discuss, consider the 24-25 annual bank budget, which is on page, I believe it was 14, wasn't it?
What about the signers, authorized signers?
Oh,
We
sorry.
missed that and the grant cycle too, I think, Debbie, on there.
No budget is next.
No, number
Yep.
6.
Oh, budget is next, number 6.
We're looking at the annual budget now?
Yes, upcoming budget for 24-25.
And I think that, the reason that this needs to be approved is because we have to get it to our treasurer so that she can have that, even though it does not officially have to be approved by the council, we still have to turn it in to the city hall.
To be a part of their package,
Yes.
or their budget.
Grace, there may be questions for you on this one, if you wanna.
Is there any,
Again, I want this one, the prorated audit fees, it's got annual budget for $12,000,
We have no idea what that's going to be.
so that's just a guess.
Yeah, that's just a guesstimate. We have no idea. I think what we did, Jim, was to look at basically what we had been charged through the city, and it was a proportionate amount, and we don't know if that will be our charges or if it will be higher. I'm assuming it may be higher.
When we were charged by the city, it was around 12.
The one charged by the city, I think, was around $750, something like that. But we were also part of the entire group.
Sure, it made a lot cheaper.
Do we have to be audited through the city, or can
We
we
have
hire a
to.
third party?
We can find a third party, we just can't find a third
find
party
them.
that wants to do it. That's what we had advertised for, was to get that.
So on the contract labor, what does that include on the $250,000?
That is the Chamber of Commerce and the Fall Concert Series for Overdrive Entertainment.
For the Chamber of Commerce, the contract?
Yes, and
And
Overdrive, that's how we calculated it.
So that's a guesstimate too?
But, yep, it's a budget.
Most of the budget is guesstimate.
Yeah. But before we change.
Should be a
it,
realistic guesstimate though, right? You should have some facts and data there
Well,
to
this
how
is
you got to the
based,
number.
This is based off of the total amount from year to year.
So there's not a big change from
There-
last year to this year on the
There's
actual
no
number?
big change, yeah.
Okay.
On the legal fees, what were we the year before? Was it still around 7,500?
Yeah, it was real close to there. I think we were at like 6,900
Yeah.
when we built this budget,
It
so.
was 6,900
yeah.
the year before?
When we feel this year isn't completed yet, won't be until June the 30th. But that's about what we, I think about 6,500 is
We were
what we
right there,
ran.
yeah.
And we're guesstimating additional charges before the end of the year.
On our grants, how much did we put out on the grants the year before? You got?
120.
How much?
We were at 120 last year. I think we started at 100 and then we amended and made it 120, and then this year it's at 150.
So you added $30,000 more to it this year?
Yes.
And that was due to the fact we went back and approved additional ones. We had to amend the budget each time.
IT services, not that much, is it? I mean, did
That's
you-
our website hosting and things like that.
How many conference shows are we going to now?
We
Or-
don't know because we
Don't know.
haven't seen they want, probably, we're hopeful that they will have those out by next month.
How much did we go last year?
This past year, they didn't have any. Through the state, we couldn't make any with them. Just too much.
Well, they did have some, but by the time they let their schedule out, we were already booked.
Yeah, it was very
Yeah.
disorganized and we couldn't do that.
So how
Are,
much-
on the conference shows then, are there conferences that we're planning to attend?
These are actually, they're not conference shows, they're travel shows. I
Okay.
guess we probably should list that differently. But these are the ones that we will attend in different areas of the United States. And basically, we are soliciting our product to those people that are attending. The
Showcasing
state
brand.
they have a co-op, and every year they present us with anywhere from 25 to 30 different shows that they have. And so what we try to do is select those that we feel like will be the best ones for us. We had discussed last year, if you remember, Jim, really our tourism, the state tourism department they're in the midst of a lot of changes. And they didn't get their schedule to us until the latter part of August. Two of the shows that we normally attend had already been held by the time we got the show dates. And at that particular time, we just really didn't feel like that it was to our advantage to go ahead and do those shows. We had started looking, and I think Jim was the one that had suggested it, into other travel shows that are throughout the United States that we felt like fit our audience better, our target market better, Matt. And in doing that, I think that my suggestion would be that we center in on that, but the expenses are so much more if you're not co-oping. We have just recently started with a regional tourism that we have invited several of the Texas communities, and as far, I guess McAllister is the furthest east that we've gone. And what we are trying to do is to look at it strategically as far as what the future holds for all the communities. And because we are all growing at such a rapid rate, we are actually formatting and fitting better with some of the North Texas community as far as our marketing strategies. So what we are trying to do is to put together that group which we can co-op and then start looking for shows that we feel like specifically target our market.
No, beforehand, a lot of times, or a few times beforehand, we went to some of the conference shows in Chicago and New Orleans and out in Arizona, which, I don't think there was much on the REI part of it, where I don't think we got that much from it. So are we staying within Oklahoma and Texas with these conference shows this year, or is that what we're looking at?
We don't know what we're looking at. My suggestion is that we branch out though. Oklahoma and Texas basically know what we have to offer. Outside of that, They don't. I think that Arkansas, Missouri, Louisiana are three definite states that we need to be marketing to, and also New Mexico. That's my feeling. The one thing that I really would like to target are motorcycle groups, because we have those byways that they travel on, and they try to stay away from any of the interstates, and by doing so, we can create those trails around us so that hopefully they will come in. They usually have expendable income, and that's what you need with travelers.
So whenever we decide on which shows we're going to, will we discuss it here, or will you guys just decide and say this is what we want
No,
to?
we have to vote on
Yeah,
it.
we have to vote on it.
Okay.
Everything is voted on.
How much,
We
where
make
they're
zero
going, and all that.
decisions.
And I can understand the bordering states, but to get any farther than that, we know at the bordering states that they're gonna come down 35 or 69. If we go any farther out, we don't know if we're going to Denver or whatever, so.
We're
bordering states
right
will
now
come.
we're right now working with Jefferson Highway. Grace is our representative on that. And Jefferson Highway goes from Ottawa, Canada to New Orleans. And there are different paths that I feel like and that's just my feeling, that I do feel like that we need to look at. The Jefferson Highway thing is going to be another Route 66 through Oklahoma, except hopefully we can get the state to spend that kind of money on the Jefferson Highway as opposed to what they've been doing with Route 66 as well.
But it goes through Kansas too, right?
It covers all that area from Ottawa, Canada to New Orleans.
Through Kansas.
Yes,
right?
yes,
So
through all of those.
with the bordering states, you're gonna pick them up in Kansas if you go to a conference up in Kansas too, right? If they're coming down.
Well, we're not going to a conference anyplace with that.
We're
It's
just
marketing that highway, that pathway.
Yes, we're just advertising. We've done that before.
Any more questions about the budget?
That's all.
Grace, do you want to kind of give a briefing on the Jefferson Highway since we've covered?
Would
on
you
that?
like me to do that now or in my report afterwards?
If there's questions, you might as well go ahead and do
So
it now.
the Jefferson Highway Association has a national chapter. That's where everything's going through right now. In our group in Oklahoma, we're about 50 people right now trying to start the first state chapter of the Jefferson Highway Association. It first came up on the radar here when we asked for a proposal to hold the conference, the national conference. We did the proposal for here. We were in the top two, and then McAllister got it. So the national conference will be in McAllister, and those are the travelers that want to hit the small towns like us all the way through there. So they all travel together, and then there's also a convoy of old military vehicles coming through in about October, and they're doing the whole route from Canada down and then ending at New Orleans at the memorial there.
Cool.
So you'll be trying to get this next year in Durham, right?
Absolutely, yeah.
Number 2 this year, right?
The cool thing about the Jefferson Highway, it comes through First Street. It's 70 actually is the route, and it comes through First Street directly down Main Street, and there are state signage that will be put
That was
up.
The state,
Noted.
the signs are in production, so you'll start seeing the JHA logo. That's what the mural is on 9th Street by the train tracks. And those guys want to take the most original route as possible. So they stop through all of the little towns and try to get through to the original roads instead of just staying on 6975. So.
So will they do the same thing in McAllister? They're going through their Main Street and the old highway.
Mm-hmm.
That's awesome.
When is that?
Which one?
When are they gonna be going through McAllister?
It
Or
should be
the-
October-ish.
Okay.
And I think they're planning maybe a lunch around here, something at the BFW, but we're not sure yet. But
So how many members do they have on this Jefferson Highway Committee or whatever? How
for
many people-
Oklahoma or national?
So how many travel, you know? because
I
of
don't have the
any
numbers
idea?
on that, no. We just started the Oklahoma chapter like a month ago. We did our bylaws. so.
So it could be 50, 100, or 1,000.
Yeah, I don't know travel-wise who's actually doing it because it's Jefferson Highway, but the Route 66 plan will pull in way more than we think it will.
Okay, we need to vote on the annual budget. Does anyone else have any questions on that? I guess I'll make a motion
What
to
do we do
approve
now?
the, number 6, to approve the 24-25 annual budget.
I second. Did you make the motion, Debbie?
Yes.
Okay.
Trustee Anthony, yes. Trustee Patel?
Yes.
Trustee Reed?
Yes.
Trustee Thorpe?
Yes.
Trustee Hunt?
Yes.
Trustee Kuykendall?
Yes.
And the next is to discuss and consider and/or approve the 24-25 grant cycle.
There was a suggestion made in February, I believe, when we started talking about when the budget was due, that we do grant cycles instead of the 60-day prior to. Either way is fine. I mean, I really don't have a preference. If we're going to do it, I would say July 1 through September the 30th.
Which is our fiscal year.
So how far in advance do they have to do these grants? Is it still 90 days?
Well, if we change it to that time frame, anyone can submit, but they have to do it within that time frame.
So if they, what was the dates on those?
July 1 through September 30.
So anybody that wanted to do one, let's say for January or through June of 2025 would have to have it in by September 2024.
Because our fiscal year runs from July 1 through June 30. If there's additional amount that's left, it's simplified. We vote to open up another grant cycle on it. And then, of course, the special project grants will still be there as
And
well.
so some of these, if we do it this way, they're having to make the grant set up 6 months ahead of time. Why do we need to change that from that till 90 days?
We don't. That's what the suggestion was made, and that most grant cycles are like that.
Yeah.
Any grant cycle that I've seen, you have a period of time to basically get the information and then get it in, and they have dates on those. And it was a suggestion that was made. All that it would do is, we would be hearing more grants, I'm sure, through that time period, through July, August, and September, for all 3 of those months.
Yeah, I don't have any problem with the 90 days, so when they're having to make it
It's 60 days.
60 days,
Is what
and
we've
they
got
have to
now.
come back and do it 6 and 8 months ahead of time. Some of these people, they got used to us having this 60-day.
Well, one
I
of the
think it's
things that we would do, if this were to pass, and like I said, I really don't have a preference on either one, I really don't. But if that does happen, what we will do is to call anyone that has written a grant to let them know that cycle is gone into place.
Yeah, I don't
Because
see any reason
it's
for
only
it
fair.
myself. I'd sooner just leave it like it is.
Is there, so there's no pros or cons against changing it right now? What's the benefits of doing it?
I really don't see that, other than the fact that it frees us up to move on to different things throughout the year. And if
So you can just work
we
on
don't
one part.
expend those fees, we can put it back out we can open up another grant cycle. And most grants are ran in cycles.
How many grants are we getting a year?
We got 12 this year. 12 $10,000 grants. The reason that this was suggested, I think it was probably February, we had a whole bunch pile up for the summer activities, and we were out of money. And we were counting down, we've got 3 left, we have 2 left, we have 1 left, all throughout from January to now. Whereas if we could tell them we're changing the cycles, we're gonna do it from July to September, the board can see all of those at one time, and they can pick and choose the ones they like, instead of the ones that have events earlier in the year, they're typically accepted. And then come this time of year, everything's backed up and we're out of money. That's why it was suggested.
I think exactly. I think if we do this, that we, as trustees of this authority, are really gonna have to pay attention to which events are putting heads in beds and which events are actually replenishing the tax dollars that it takes to
I
have
agree.
these grants
Mhm.
available.
I think we shouldn't have a grant and then not have, you know, what the ROI was on that for providing that grant. If we give money away and then it provides 0 beds, you know, heads and seats or beds, then we're not a charity, right? We're here to,
Yeah, and I think the problem with some of the newer grants, we didn't know what the ROI was gonna be because we'd never done it, so we were just kinda throwing it out there and giving everybody a chance to see what the return would be
Sure,
on it.
yeah.
But if we had them all at one time, we might make better decisions to,
or
you know.
or if it's not going to, if we look at it and it's not going to provide the benefits that of bringing people in and bringing them to the hotels, then, I mean, how many of them did we say, okay, no, we're not gonna fund it?
And really, if we just leave it at 60 days, instead of having your annual budget up to 150, or, yeah, 150,000, all you have to do is just, put your grant money up to 200,000, and that will pick them up, and we won't have to open it up again for doing this. I mean, we could have it at 200,000, and that would probably take in the whole
We
year,
would love that.
instead of 150.
Listen, I
Yeah,
mean,
that
we
way
have
we
to
can have
spend
60.
money to bring money, right?
Right.
So,
Sure.
I don't think that's one that we would want to
I would suggest.
shortchange ourselves on.
I didn't mean to interrupt you, Matt.
Okay.
I would suggest if we do this, that we do look at the qualifications for the grant and that there is a checklist on there. Sometimes I don't think we look at those checklists, that we make sure that we, as trustees, are checking those off. How many rooms is this giving? We're going to have more and more people as the information gets out about this, that we are allowing grants, that are going to apply for these. And it's gonna make it more difficult for us as we're doing that. But if we set standards for the grants that are presented, then, and I think if there's an unusual event that comes up, let's drive them to that special project.
Right.
Because that can create, something new can always create a bigger, that return on the investment is always going to be larger as it builds and grows. But if we even add maybe another list to that, how long do you think it will take to get to a 2-night stay instead of a 1-day event that's really not going to get people into the hotel rooms?
Yeah.
I think people forget often that the way that we have this money is the fact that we're putting heads in beds. And if we stop putting heads in beds, the grant money's gonna go away.
Right. And I'm a numbers guy, so if our average grant is $10,000, right? How many heads and beds do we need to bring in to just recover that one? But we're not here to just recover it, right? We're here to make more. So how many heads and beds do we need to bring in to cover that $10,000? And I
That's a
think we
good
have to
point.
look at it. We have to look at our approvals that way, because if they say, okay, well, they're gonna bring 100 people in, right? Does that cover the cost of $10,000?
Well, Grace has been following up after some of the events to see how busy we all were, so that we can get an idea more of who actually came and stayed instead of just who maybe came to Thursday night concert series. How busy we'll be more on that Thursday night than when we don't have a concert series. And
When we first made this proposition, it was mostly just me and Janet and Charles Calhoun. And what we did, we finally, we had stopped this for 15 or 20 years. And so what we agreed on is that we put the heads in beds again, because this is just a tax on 4 businesses. Can you imagine if we did it for insurance companies or restaurants? You can do it for restaurants. Can you imagine how much money that's gonna bring in? Because a lot of these restaurants are right out there, and they're getting the benefits of this, and the owners do not even pay a percentage of the tax. So you got it on about 4 to 5 businessmen, and what we decided to give us back that 5% per month, we're fine. Because what this tax does, and people don't understand it, it's a tax on 4 or 5 of us, and so if it's cost me $50,000 a year, this is my pure profit that I have, and this taking away from my
Is it
family,
though?
my kids, and my grandkids.
Yeah,
And
but-
if we can put that 5% back, then I'm happy to help the community, but I don't want that 5% taken out of my deal, and where I'm not getting it back, to where, I can take care of things I wanna take care of.
But, so the 5% though was on top of what your already charges were, so it's not like you lowered your rate to add the 5%, right? That 5% is just on top of. So really, does it impact you guys as owners, really, because who's paying it is the people that's actually staying at the hotel?
It is, but it limits you, it's like in your business or anything else, it limits you on how much you can go up now, because what it is, you've already tacked on another 5%. And so, I'm telling you, there's people that come down the road that will fuss over $1, $2, and $5 a room, and so now you don't get them, and so it does impact you, because instead of just going back to the hotel for the cost of living and the cost of keeping that motel up, it's going to here, and so that's what we're looking at. It does impact people, because some people will stay, they'll fuss, I can put my rate $5 underneath her, and it'll cost her 10 rooms a night. Same thing as him, it does that, because what it is they're money conscious nowadays, and it's even
You
more
have to
so
be.
now, because you know what? This is the first year ever, in 40-something years I've been here, and she can attest to that, and he will too. This is the first year on Memorial Day weekend that we did not fill up for. We were running, not even on Friday you did.
She said she did.
But what it is I didn't.
Almost did.
We almost did, but what it is, we were having 10 or 15 rooms short. This weekend, it never has done that before. Have you,
Did the
were you full
weather?
up?
No.
But that's not what we're talking about, Jim. How does that, we've got to put the heads in the bed
Yes.
in order to continue to have the funding
Yes,
so that's the issue.
I understand, but we were
Yeah,
just
it's not-
explaining, you was asking questions, and I was explaining what us hotel people do. And the only way he's gonna know is to bring it up, but you're exactly right, go ahead.
No, so we think that, do you think that not feeling 100% this year was due to the tax, or is it more economy, inflation?
I think there's 3 things. Number one, the worst thing could happen is they were talking Oklahoma City and Dallas saw it. They had, like it was gonna be tornadoes coming through here Friday and Saturday night.
Mhm.
I didn't get one fisherman. I don't think you got one either that had a boat on it.
I think the
We didn't
weather,
get any of these people, because what
The
happens
weather
is
was
when
bad.
Yeah,
this happens,
that's
when
what
they
I
throw
said.
that weather like that, it scares people off. The number 2 thing, that reason we didn't do it, is that the Choctaws have always had a big name coming in on their holidays. And they did not have a big name coming in here. I think it went to Hoshtown by Broken Bow, but we
Yeah, they're
had a
really pushing it.
so-so person, but he didn't pull.
Mm.
He didn't pull, and so that was the other thing. The other thing is that I went out to the lake with my son on a Friday night. And he said when he stopped at Bucky's coming up here in Melissa, he'd never seen so many people having tents on their cars. People are beginning to hurt with this economy, you understand it, you're a businessman, and these people are hurting with the taxes, if you get the loan and your money's 9% business or cars and all that stuff, it's hurting people like that, and now they don't have the expendable income to come in to do that. So we went out to the lake, like Texoma, and went down Catfish Bay in their, camping area. He said the same thing as I did. I have never seen, I see a bunch of travel trailers any other year. There was probably 100 tents set up.
Which is
and
crazy
no
with the
travel
weather
trailers.
forecast too.
yeah.
Right.
You know, it's,
And these people, they were cheap. There was tents all up. I have never seen that in the last 40 years. But it tells me that people are hurting and they're having to cut costs, and so now they have that. He saw that at Bucky's, and sure enough, I said, let's go out by the lake and let's take a look. And people are hurting now.
think the overall economy and inflation is,
Mhm.
it's not good.
So what did we decide about the grant cycle? Back to that.
But I just really leave it, let's just make, I'd like to make a motion that we do the grant cycle like it is, 60 days ahead of time, it's ample enough. You have to do anything, we make it for special projects. It's worked so far.
I have a question. Is there something in the packet that says we have to award $10,000?
No.
So we could take that number and make that smaller, or an arbitrary number, or put whatever number we wanna put in there that feels like we're gonna still make the necessary heads and beds, but make that a better ROI on what we're actually doing. Is that right? So we could give $5,000 instead of 10?
$50,000 budget, you can,
Do it any way you
move
want to.
that up too. You don't have to stay within the budget.
We can do whatever we want to with the grant. Just because they apply for a $10,000 grant does not mean that we have to grant the $10,000.
And
And
by-
we're not gonna have to change anything.
And by having a grant cycle, that would allow us to give all of our funds, appropriate the funds that we're gonna use for the entire year in the first quarter of our fiscal year.
Well, I think it's like Grace explained, when it was talked about, it was because we were at the end of that cycle, we were already out of money.
Right.
And we had other grants that were coming in. And so if you set a time frame and it's publicized that way, often they will get it in on time. You're still gonna have people that won't get it in. And we can still be, in January, and we've already expended every dime of it, and we still have grants coming in.
And there's a lot of people, she was talking about some more coming in for grants. In the last 5 years, we've probably weeded out about 10 or more, 10 or 12, that wasn't bringing in tourism. And so they don't come back to us anymore because, if they don't meet our criteria, they don't get it. So there's some around here, and I can name a few of them, I'm not going to, but what it is they don't come back in because it doesn't benefit.
Can we get a copy of the grant criteria so that we can
Yes,
review
it's
that?
online.
Okay.
It's online, on the Discover Durant. Most of those that we have not re-awarded is because they did not turn in a wrap-up. And it states very clearly, and Grace is very good about calling, reminding them that it has to be in 30 days after the event takes
Yeah.
place.
I agree, if they don't turn one in, then no good to them. Especially if you guys can't collaborate, I mean, you can't come back and tell us, yes, we were busier than we normally would be.
Would you go wanna table this and study it
Well,
more?
he's got a motion
No.
on the
Go
Oh.
ahead and
I
leave the
second it.
grant like it is. I mean, it's worked for the last
I'll make the
5 years
second.
here.
Second. You're not gonna build for off top. Trustee Anthony, yes. Trustee Patel?
Yes.
Trustee Reed?
Yes.
Trustee Thorpe?
Yes.
Trustee Hunt?
Yes.
Trustee Kuykendall?
Yes.
What?
I said, yay, let's work.
Now we're gonna discuss, consider, and approve authorized signers for the bank account.
I think it would be good if we put all of the officers, and if Jim wants to be on it, that way we have 4 opportunities for people, and it's difficult sometimes to get people in to sign checks.
Yes, it is.
Do you agree with the 3 officers and you?
What?
The 3 officers and then you?
That's fine.
We will have to specify the names in the,
Okay,
as part of the minutes.
so we need to make a motion.
I make a motion that we do our newly elected officers, which is Matt Hunt for chair, Debbie Anthony, vice chair, secretary, treasurer, Kara Kirkendall, and Jim Thorpe, trustee.
Now, it takes 2 authorized signer for every check, right?
Yep,
Okay.
I'll second that. Trustee Anthony, yes. Trustee Patel?
Yes.
Trustee Reed?
Yes.
Trustee Thorpe?
Yes.
Trustee Hunt?
Yes.
Trustee Kuykendall?
Yes.
Discuss and consider approve advertising for Look Around Lubbock Summer Fun.
If you look in your packet on page 15, This is their proposal. We advertised with Lubbock before in the fall for the concert series, about the same thing that we're doing with News 9 that we passed last month. They want to do 30-second commercials every so often. It's all in here. So what they had proposed to us was the 1950, and they would produce a 30-second commercial for us. I told them that we have a 30-second commercial already produced for summer fun, and so they knocked the package down to $1,500 so they don't have to produce the commercial. So if we wanted to do this little promo, it would be $1,500.
What's the population of Lubbock?
I don't know.
I think it's around
Large.
225,000. I'm not for sure, but I think
25,000?
225,000.
Did you say we've done this before?
We have done Lubbock in the fall, yeah. About the same time we ran the News 9 special.
And do we know how?
I don't have a way to calculate how well it did, but I did meet somebody at the concert series from Lubbock. So if they saw the commercial, that did it. If not, I don't know where else to pull numbers on TV ads.
I think we need to probably get more strategic on, getting the help from you guys on what your room utilization was, right? So based off of what it was before we started advertising, what it ended up being, how did that look like the year before, taking out any special events? I think we're gonna need more data to really understand what's working and what's not.
We did have that, actually, it was because it was during the concert series that Jeremy came in and gave that data. Grace can do the very same thing, but we can pull that for the period of time. If there is an event, it definitely, we've seen an increase, not just a gradual, but a drastic increase on those events that you have. We can also tell you exactly how many hits that we're getting on the website, and if those numbers are going up during that period of time, how long they stay on the website, that type of thing.
So they play the commercial, then we see the hits on the website to see if it's actually.
Where they're coming
Yes.
from.
But to be specific, like you said, we can have our district attendants look. And it's gonna put exactly where they're from.
Yeah.
And we can find out how many people from Lubbock is coming, because it's gonna be on every one of your.
Right.
Zip codes,
Credit card
are
codes
very
and
easy
everything.
way to
Well,
trace those.
and it doesn't have to just be Lubbock, right? Because these
Yeah.
commercials are gonna be seen from other people, other than just people directly in Lubbock, right?
It would be just right.
So any geographical region there, looking at the zip codes and then really,
It would be,
well,
Great.
And Lubbock's about 230,000.
then we need to, that's the way we need to look at it. I mean,
Well, the, report snapshot that you have with that, is that from the radio?
That's website data.
Okay, that's what I thought, but that's basically, that's on page 23.
and they will give us the exact date and time that they, played these commercials?
Yeah, they send me the schedule. Mm-hmm.
Then we'd be able to see website hits. I mean, you can't just look at website hits, right? But ultimately, you have to look at heads and beds, right? And how many actually showed up.
do you know, do they ever give you other advertisers that's advertising out in Lubbock? Is there anyone that's advertising besides us in this vicinity of probably 100 miles?
That's
You know that?
advertising with them specifically.
Could you ask them?
I could. There's enough to make it a whole summer program. So I feel like we're a small sliver of this look around Lubbock. So I would say there's definitely a list of other people like us doing this.
So these commercials,
sure
what are we
it's
driving
businesses.
people to? We're just showing, this is
It's
Durant?
the Discover Durant right now. This would be our outdoor commercial, which I'm about to show you at the
Okay.
end of the agenda. It shows all the things that we have outside. We've got our disc golf, rugby, rodeo, things like that. Just
This was the
things
one
like
that we co-opted with the
Lake
Lake
Texoma.
one.
Yeah, it hits the
So
code of Lake
actually,
Texoma.
and I think the last package that we did was with Channel 5 or Channel 9 out of
9,
Oklahoma City.
yeah.
Channel 9 out of Oklahoma City, and the total cost to us was $2,000. We co-opted with Lake Texoma, and they paid $1,000 of that, but we did do the production on it, the commercial.
And
so.
we know for sure that there will be some that come from Lubbock, but then we
Mhm.
But the Choctaws are not gonna pay this 5% tax. We're the ones having to pay
Yeah.
that, and so.
I don't think that
doesn't
drives their
help us that much.
ADR any.
Yeah.
I think they charge whatever they want on
No.
their
We can
ADR, I don't
tell-
think
we
they're
can
worried
tell
about
by
that.
just watching every month of how many people coming from that.
That area, yeah.
It'll be specific.
I'd like to see those numbers on your,
We do.
yeah.
I think that's gonna be interesting during the concert series or any time that
Where
we
they're
have
coming
an
from.
event to see where the zip codes are.
Yeah.
So if you guys can provide that, that would be phenomenal for us.
We can provide the next month, we just have to designate our.
I think that's
next
great.
dates and do it. That's gonna be specific.
Yeah. And all you have to do is date it, because we can match the events to those dates to see.
We just need dates and zip codes,
Yeah.
really.
Well, that's all we need to do. I think that would be great.
Okay. So are we gonna table this?
We can't.
Yeah, I have to have an
Yeah.
answer on this
We have to
because
have
they're
an answer
holding
on
the
this
spot.
one.
So, I mean, Grace, so you feel this is something we absolutely should do?
I don't know about absolutely. I do think it helps as far as the money versus heads and beds. It's what we're always trying to calculate, so.
$1,500, it's not very much to spend on advertising.
Right, it is one of the cheapest ways we advertise. If you look at billboard advertising, are you hitting more people because you're on TV in Lubbock than you are on the highway? Cost-wise, this is a cheaper option.
Yeah, it just, if I see a commercial, it's for something very specific. If I'm going to travel somewhere, right?
Mhm.
I don't play frisbee golf. So I'm anxious to see the commercial.
Yeah, we can do that. We can do that right before this.
Welcome to Durant, Oklahoma, where your perfect weekend awaits. With over 580 miles of shoreline on Lake Texoma and Lake Durant, the possibilities are endless. From the Durant Multi-Sport Complex to Savage Storm Sports, there's something for everyone. And let's not forget about our rodeo, where the action comes to life. So why settle for the usual? Discover the extraordinary in Durant, Oklahoma. Your next unforgettable weekend starts right here.
Is that an updated version, because it shows more businesses? The last one I saw wasn't that much.
That's updated. That was the
Yeah.
final
Yeah,
that we did.
that was a lot better than the first one.
So hopefully they see that and they go to discoverdurant.com. And then from there, they plan a trip out.
Yeah.
Now, I can tell you the website hits, but other than that, I can't tell you.
Yeah,
How
I
well
mean,
it works.
it is cheap, right?
Yeah,
So,
1,500.
there's no reason why we couldn't just go ahead and do it and then actually look at the hits and then actually track the data on whether or not people came in and stayed at where we want them to stay
Right.
with these guys.
That's basically only 15 years old.
Do we use the same advertising on Channel 9 in Oklahoma City?
This is a commercial that we submitted for the News 9.
I make a motion to spend the $1,500 to advertise and look around in Lubbock Summer
Go ahead
Fun.
and say that.
Trustee Anthony, yes. Trustee Patel?
Yes.
Trustee Reed?
Yes.
Trustee Thorpe?
Yes.
Trustee Hump?
Yes.
Trustee Kuykendall?
Yes.
Next is to approve and request a proposal for the management contract. And I honestly think that we should go ahead and make a motion to just keep it, because this is the end of our fiscal year, and how are we gonna get anything done between now and July the 1st?
Well, we can. My deal is on this is that we're not in Cuba, we're in the United States, and everything's been free enterprise. We have put this thing up for bid for the first 3 years we started this. The last year or two we didn't, because there was nobody bidding on it. But I'm sure that this year, from what I hear, there's a business person on the west side of Durant that he'll put it up for bid. And I think on free enterprise, and that's what we're about. If it was for
Well, why would
me-
somebody that's
and
not
so
on
what
the
I'm-
board
This
want
is
to?
what I'm saying, is that when you look at this, when you get to bidding on this, a lot of times, if it's $10 or $20 or $30,000 cheaper per year, it's crazy not to put a bid on it, because if you can get it for, say, $120 or $130, now all of a sudden you got $20,000 and $30,000 to put on advertising on the road or anywhere you want, instead of on management fees. And I think, every year we should be doing this, and whoever gets a bid, and I think the person that I've talked to, he has six car dealerships.
Yeah, I've known him all my life.
We're
I know who
businessmen,
you're talking about.
we're businessmen, and he's been a businessman too. And your businessmen have to run their businesses efficient, even more so than organizations. I don't care if it's a state of Oklahoma, whatever. And we have to run ours, and we don't get paid a monthly check. If we don't make it, we just don't get any money out of it. And so they run it efficiently. And I'm sure with him having 6 dealerships, that he comes back and puts a bid. And if it's $10,000, $20,000, $30,000 cheaper, to where we can use that money for more advertising on the road to get more people in, I'm sure he can do an excellent job with
So
it.
one of
too.
his employees would take over everything the chamber does. One of his employees.
We're not looking at taking over everything the chamber does, we're looking at taking over the management part of the chamber, and, I just can't think that a person that's got, that 6 businesses can't do as efficient as anybody else, whether it's chamber or anybody else.
Again, I've
Me,
known him since
me,
he was
I really think, and I'm considering, I don't mind putting in a bid either. And
Oh, good Lord,
I've got 3 businesses, and I'm telling you, I can do it efficient. You don't stay in business 40 years by wasting money and running it efficient. So there's other people
Do you
besides
have-
the chamber that can do that.
Do you have, like, examples of where you think money's being wasted?
I'm not saying the money's being wasted, I'm just saying what happens is when you take on bids, that's on anything, this is the American way. When you take on bids, there'll always be some, and it makes it where it will be a better process. And if it saves us $10,000, $20,000, $30,000 a year that we can put on advertising, it's worth the money. You know what? We don't know if it will or not. And we don't know if it'll be $10,000 or it will be $5,000 less than this. But there's no reason to try. If it's up to me, and I want a monopoly, I'd rather just have us and LaKenta in here and not even have his motel in. And, we'd make a lot more money, right? But we can't do a monopoly because there's 6 or 7 of us, and so we can't put a monopoly on it. The American way is to bid stuff out and see what you have. Do we know what's gonna happen? No, I know at least 1, maybe 2 of us would put a bid on it. And I don't think, I think it's pretty well discriminating not to put bids out when you can save money and put more on advertising, and whether it's Oklahoma City or Dallas or whatever. It's worth the time. It's worth the time, and I don't see any reason why not.
So, we don't get new business without responding to a proposal, right? That's the way business works. At the same time, I have never seen anybody make a decision just because of price, right? There's values, the value, the benefits of having someone do it, right? So if we would have to not just look at pricing, right? It's who's going to bring in the most heads and beds, right? For the price that we pay. So, everybody's heard of you get what you pay for, right? Proposals sometimes take a long time, right? Sometimes they're a waste of time because people know who, that they may already have an idea who they want to go with, who they don't. I would like to see, what does that proposal process look like? Who puts it out? How long is it for? Because ultimately, I don't want to slow down progress either, right? Which can happen whenever that's happening.
There's requirements to do this. We usually put out, and it's not a long process, you can put it in 90 days or you can put it in 60 days. And then you can.
Jim, I'm gonna have to
pencil it
stop
out.
you. The
Well, I
last
don't
time
think-
there was a proposal that was put out, it took us 6 months. We can't stop. If you put out a proposal, that's telling me you do not want the chamber to be part of it,
It's not.
and we can't stop. Our job is to promote tourism.
it's got requirements for this, and you can put the proposal out and find out. And what it is when we make this, we don't make it for 5 years, we make it for 1 year at a time. If the people, or whoever takes it over does not do a good job, then you can put it up for
Well,
bid next
1
year. and
year,
go.
people are not gonna go to that hiring and expensive office supplies and all that for a 1 year contract. I just can't see that.
Have you looked at the requirements for that?
Have you?
Yes.
Well, what did you think of it?
I
The
think
requirements
are
for the
efficient, huh?
proposal, or what are you talking about, for the contract?
Yes.
Which part are you talking about?
I'm talking about the proposal, if somebody wants to bid on it, they're required to have certain things, is what they're supposed to have.
Do you think that the chamber's not satisfying those right now?
I think, I'll just put it this way. If the person I think is gonna bid on it, he could probably do it for less and be just as efficient. I'm not saying that chamber is that, but I'm just saying that we put out the proposal for this for the first 2 or 3 years, and I don't see
Is
why.
that same
we have
person
to
or
do
their
this.
office gonna be dedicated to tourism and putting people in heads of beds in Durant,
Yes, it is.
Oklahoma?
It tells you the requirements in there. And
Oh,
it's
no,
not
but
hard.
everywhere they go, everywhere ex-Duval goes, let's just throw his name out there again. Everywhere he goes, he's gonna go visit my brother up at Tecumseh. Is he gonna be promoting Durant, Oklahoma while he's there? I don't think so.
What you're gonna do, even if another person does it, it's about putting more advertising out on the road. It's that simple, and taking care of it, and that's what it's about. If you have another $30,000 that you can put in advertisements,
So
it's gonna pull that many people, just like on
So
Lubbock
if
or
he gets
anything
the
else.
somebody else got the management contract, they're gonna pay for more advertising for the town of Durant, out of their own pocket. That's what you're saying?
If you have $30,000 more, you can put out a lot more advertising and do a lot more things with it. You can, or 20,000.
But you're
or
saying
whatever.
whoever gets it is, I'm saying when they go everywhere, that's all they do is promote Durant.
They do
When
that for
a
this-
single business owner, I don't care if it's 15 dealerships or like Uncle Buddy had 10, everywhere they go, they're not promoting our town still. If they go to Kansas, are they gonna be talking up Durant, Oklahoma when they're on vacation there, or going to a ball game? That's continuous advertisement is my point. And I don't think a personal business person, whoever it may be, I love Eric, our family's been friends forever, but it's everywhere he goes, is that his livelihood to promote Durant, Oklahoma? That's my opinion, that's all I
Well,
can say.
it sounds good, but what it is
So when was
the chamber does this anyhow without us being around. They've done it for 50 years. And so this is the same stuff they've been doing. All I'm telling you is that we're trying to put out advertisement on the roads and cities. And if the bid is $10, $20, $30,000 cheaper, that is more that you can put out.
So that
brings
$10,000
some more
is
business
more
to Durant.
important, you think, in your opinion, than them being in every single town in Oklahoma, Texas, Louisiana, wherever they go, promoting our town. Is that $10,000 worth it? In my opinion, it's not.
The chamber does that
that's-
anyhow, and all I'm saying is that, we're built on a free enterprise system.
I get free enterprise, I'm
And
saying which
what
one's
happens
more
is
important for this
that's why we
committee?
usually put out
We're here
bids.
for what's
But that's-
important for this committee in the town of Durant.
So the chamber, because it has the management, has then now the funds and the means to do some additional stuff that they would normally not be able to do if they weren't managing this contract, right?
That's my-
The chamber, I feel, is something, you say, it's something that they do anyway, so they know how to do it, they have the expertise, they have the staff, and if they are not managing the contract, then they're not going to do as much as they do because they can't fund it, right? So then I would want to see if we feel, and really it sounds like you right now feel like someone can do it more efficiently and better. It would be tough to see
I'm not
that.
saying they're gonna do
Compare
it more
the-
efficiently and better, but I think, they might come in lower. It's just a free enterprise system.
But
like
then,
America.
but would you want lower, or do you want more efficiently and better?
Well, again, what I say is the advertising is the main thing with this. Whoever is managing it, the chamber is still gonna do what they're gonna do, even if they have this.
Not
contract
everything
now.
though, right?
Yeah, but you have another person that is doing it, or another corporation that's doing it, they can focus on advertising down the road more if they get it for $20,000 or $30,000 cheaper. But Carol, you was gonna ask the question a while ago too.
Yeah, so just because I'm not particularly familiar with this, since I'm sitting new on the board, when was this originally brought for vote?
When's what?
When was this contract originally brought up for vote?
The last couple of months, we've been putting it over, and it never has been
Maybe
able to get through.
It was January.
But
So
it
we've-
starts up in around June or July.
So we've gone from January to the end of the fiscal year without making a decision on a management contract that will start in less than 35 days.
Because the boats weren't there. I just thought that since it's a free enterprise system, that you should be able to put out bids for this, and if the chamber gets it, that's great. If somebody else gets it, let's try them for a year.
So aren't
And so
these
what happens?
open meetings? Anybody can attend?
Anybody can come? Mhm.
Does anybody come?
Yeah, I know,
Yes,
that's
they
my
can come.
question. Aren't these open meetings anybody could attend? Is that accurate?
Has anybody been here?
No, I'm asking, are these open meetings, can
Yes.
anyone attend? So if someone was actually interested in bringing a proposal to this board, they should have been speaking to all of us in a general meeting, right? Could they not get on the agenda and have them come
I don't
speak
know.
with
I don't
us
know
all?
if he was invited or what.
You don't have to be
Usually don't
invited.
Well, that's what I'm
Anybody can walk
asking.
in
Is
those
this an
doors and
open
sit on the
meeting? We have Open Meetings Act, right? Don't we have to abide by that?
Robert's Rule of Order, yeah.
So if someone was actually genuinely interested, and I don't know who you're speaking of or anyone else because I'm brand new to this board, but I would think that if I had a proposal that was going to be my primary focus of employment for 120,000, between 120 and 150,000 is what we're throwing these numbers out here, that they would have gotten on our agenda to come speak with all of us. And that would be appropriate representation for us to decide if we really wanted to open this up for bids. I mean, that's just kind of my train of thought on the whole thing. We have 35 days to the end of our fiscal year, and we've been infighting and can't get votes since this was originally put on the agenda in apparently January. So everything that we voted on to this point today is contingent on the fact that the chamber and Grace is still going to be managing all of these items. Don't they do all of our agendas, all of our financials? They do all of that, right? So everything we just voted on is gonna basically be null and void because whoever the new person would be would have to come in and handle all of this. So I'm not really sure that making a decision in 35 days before the end of the fiscal year, when we've had 6 months to do it, that we're gonna be able to make, first of all, get a proposal in less than 35 days, all of us sit down together, make a good fiscal decision for our constituents who we're up here supposed to be representing, instead of discussing how we could get it more efficient, cheaper, better. Those are great things, and I understand them, obviously, but we spent $28,000 on billboards last year. Why don't we cut back some of our billboard advertising? If this is really what we're wanting to do, put it somewhere else. Put it on radio, put it on TV, go out and go to somewhere else. I mean, make the trips. Our budget looks good, but why are we, I just don't think that switching our management contract 35 days before the end of our fiscal year with no proposals in hand is a great decision to make.
If you go back and look, this started 90 days ago, and it was brought up,
Okay?
and there wasn't enough votes.
Right.
And so what we did 3 months ago,
Yep.
we extended this contract for 90 days.
Okay.
If we decide to go ahead and put this out for bids,
Okay.
we can extend the contract for another 90 days or 120 days, whatever we want. We've already done it once back 3 months ago
Okay.
because the votes weren't there. And so it was brought up for us to extend it. We can extend it another 120 days and still put it out for bid. It's pretty simple to do. All we have to vote is to extend this until we have some bids in, and then we can look at them, and if we like them, then that's fine. If we want to stay with this Converse, it's fine. I'm just saying, you know, this is a free country. I mean, I just don't understand why anybody's upset or afraid
No, and
to
I
put
don't-
it up for bid.
I'm
I
not
don't
upset or
disagree what
afraid.
you're saying.
Yeah.
What I'm saying is, if you have someone that you've been speaking to on a regular basis, and it sounds like you do, why are they not here talking to all of us?
Spoke to him three times, that's it.
I know, but if he was that interested, is what she's saying, why wouldn't he come attend and see what it's all about, and what they would really be responsible for?
I just came back and let you know that we can
Yeah.
extend this
I think
contract.
she brought
Yeah.
We
very
did
good
it,
points that
we
I
did it
hadn't
90 days
thought
ago,
of,
and we
but-
can extend it again to get some bids.
So we've already gone through 90 days, but that started 6 months ago, so now you wanna extend it another 90 days. That's what you're,
It's American way.
I'm not arguing that fact.
They'll come to your motel, and if they can get it $5 cheaper on me, that's American way. They're not staying at your place.
I've had a lot of, I was about sold out this weekend, so about $178 ADR, but okay. So,
Well, I mean, ultimately, I'm here on behalf of the chamber. You know, I would like to, because I haven't been part of the process, I would like to keep it, right? And see how I can help make it better. You know, that's why I signed up, is, you know, I love Durant. I wanna make Durant better. And so, you know, I haven't been in business for 25 years. I haven't had anything fail. As you, I mean, I'm a numbers guy. I like data, and I think if we can figure out how to make things better, then that's what I'm here for, and that's what I'm committed to.
and that's the thing about what
And
Karen
I'm a
said.
chamber member too, but like I said, you know, competition is what America's all about.
And Karen said, she doesn't want her son moving off when he gets older, like a lot of us wanted to do. As soon as we could get out of Durant, we'll get out of Durant. We wanted a place for the families to come and stay. And again, if they're promoting that everywhere they go, and we make it better and we progress, then maybe we will get more people to stay here once they graduate from Southeastern. That's getting better. Once it's because they're seeing there's a progression, and I just don't know who else could promote that or be more involved in everything that we do than the chamber. I don't. And the points she made were just mind blowing, because that's so right that. And Matt, that
We've had
if
to
nothing's
bid.
broke, I mean, I just think their whole livelihood is making Durant better. That's my
We
point.
bid it out for the last 2 or 3 years until
And
last
look
year
where we
too,
are, we're still
until
trying to
nobody
bid it
would-
out after 2 or 3
Until
years.
nobody would come back and do a bid on it. But if somebody wants to bid on it, I understand. I think, you know, it's an option. We can still get the bids in, and if we don't like it, the chamber can still bid it.
Well, that's nice.
Free enterprise.
Well, I'm making a motion to keep the management contract with the chamber this fiscal year or more.
I'm not.
Okay. Y'all have your opinion. And we got new faces, so maybe they can look at this on a different level than we can. That's been hashed through this for 6
I
months.
just want to understand why people are afraid to go into the bid process.
I'm not
It's
afraid.
America.
I don't
have an issue with the bid process. I have an issue with the fact that this has been
It's so
sitting here since
soon.
January. And that we've just inherited a board that we can't have a decision made in like a timely manner before we end a physical year and move into something new. Like, we've just approved a budget for the next year, we've just stuck with our grant cycle, we've just elected new officers. Like,
Who manages the proposal?
Who manages it?
No, who, if we were to go to, put it out for a proposal, who would manage that process?
They will bring them in, and then this board always votes on everything.
Who's they?
Yeah.
The
Just take-
attorney
The
is the one
municipality
that's
will
done it in the
bring
past.
them, and then what it is, then we look at all the contract proposals. and
That
we
does
will
not come to the
propose it.
chamber, Jim.
Mhm.
That does not come through the chamber. It's always been handled through the attorney.
The proposal.
The proposal.
Will come into y'all's office.
No, sir.
Will come into the lawyer's
No,
office.
sir. They go to the attorney. That's the way it's been
It comes
handled
into the
before.
attorney, and then we look at the proposals and vote on who we want to be over the contract for the next year. Right?
Who's our attorney?
Jason Pedraza. And he has another board meeting that is at this date and time, and he is not available to come to every meeting.
And again, we put out proposals. If you don't like one or two more, bring in those proposals, you still vote for the Chamber of Commerce. It's not like, this is not Cuba. You can get what you want, and if you don't like that one, then you get another one. I'm sure the Choctaws do it, and all of us do it on people that's coming in. And it's just like her bank. You can go to her bank, and I went to 3 of them before on loans, hotels. Who do you think I took? All the banks are quality. I took one of them was 75% above, one of them was 50% above, and I got the lower one, but all of them are quality banks, and guess what? I went to them. I had to deal with her, she understands. This is what
But
it's all about.
Jim, they all deal with finances on a day-to-day basis. You just said yourself that the person you're talking about has a business, but it is a car business. You haven't told us what car business, which I don't think it needs to be divulged. They have not been in the business of tourism.
But I'm saying, he was contemplating on putting the bid in if it's opened up. That's what I know. He doesn't even keep me from putting in the bid.
Just so I'm understanding this, it's a private business that's doing this?
And all they have to do is, we have the restrictions and we have the things that they have to have in place to be over this board. Have you seen it yet? Has any of y'all seen the contract that you gotta do to qualify for being the management over this? Probably haven't, have you? Have y'all looked at it?
No, I haven't seen it yet.
That's why I believe in proposals, RFPs. That's the way business is run, right? At the same time, understanding, you pick the best person for the job, right? Just because their proposal is there doesn't mean you're gonna change, right? But at the same time, I don't know enough about it yet, and because I do represent the chamber, then now that I'm active, I would like to make it,
And I think
see
some
how
of
I can
us-
make it better.
I think some of us on the board don't even know what you're voting on. You haven't even seen the contract of what you have to qualify for. Have you looked at it?
Right.
Have you looked at it? So you're voting on something that
I
you
haven't
know nothing about.
Jim, I haven't voted on anything.
I know, but if we decide to vote on today, you're voting on things that you haven't even seen the contract for that management company, have you?
no, I haven't. Here,
I have, she has, he hasn't.
I've read
So
through
we're
it.
voting on things that just kind of the wall blew yonder because you hadn't even looked at it. So, it should be delayed at least a month anyhow, for y'all to be able to look on what you're voting for, because you haven't looked at, you're voting on something that's just out there.
and I don't
We're
think it can
voting
be a
on
whole month.
status, basically what's happened now for years, right?
Well, we
and we know
bid
that
out
it
for
meets-
2-3 years, and then the last year or two, we didn't have any bids, so they just got it. And you've been asking for somebody that is looking at maybe bidding on it. We can ask Eric to come up and you can ask him questions, okay? You
Yeah,
want me to-
I don't have specific questions.
Thank you. I was listening online real quick, and I thought I would come clarify a few of these things we talked about. First of all, I am Eric Studeville. I'm here representing the West Durant Merchants Association. That's a 501c6. It's just like the Chamber of Commerce. I'm the president. We have a director. We have a CPA. We have a board of directors, we have members that are paying dues, so it's very similar, right? We just asked for an opportunity to bid the thing. We asked for an RFP from you all, the board, to say what you want done, how you expect it to be done, and then we'll put a number on it and say, here's what we can do. And here's the people we can provide to do it. They're not gonna work for me at my stores. I got people doing things that are too busy to do this. This is a whole nother project. So, you know, I looked at some data. I mean, City of Ardmore pays their Chamber of Commerce $60,000 a year to do the same job. There's some other things they do because they have a convention center and some other stuff, but I don't know what you want me to do because you've never put an RFP out. I know we've kicked this thing down the road for like 7 or 8 months, probably to get to this point to try to force it through so we don't have to do it, and I get it, right? Anyway, one of the roles of a director is a state audit, or excuse me, an audit from an independent auditor, which they haven't done, so you're in violation of that. Probably something you need to get done.
Mr. Studeville, I hate to tell you, but we do have to have a audit,
Right.
but that's on year 2024, 23, because we have not completed that year yet.
So what year?
We did have an audit through the city, 23 and 24.
Okay, so you reached out and sent out a proposal to the OML for an audit service, and no one responded.
We sent it out to
It's
the
on record.
OML and also in our local paper, I believe,
Okay.
and on our own internet, the
Yeah.
Discovered
I
Arena.
understand.
We brought up.
I read the audit for the city of Ardmore a few days
We
ago,
never have
so-
even brought it up to vote on it, on who's gonna audit it.
I don't know, I'm just asking for an opportunity to have some competition, and the chamber probably does a wonderful job. I have no arguments with that, all right? It's a lot of money, it's y'all's money, it's advertising money, you know, is there a better way? I don't know, we don't know what you want to be done, right? I mean, I don't know I have seen the contract, I've read it from stem to stern, you know, I've read the indentures, I've read all the documents, have a pretty good grasp of it. We're just asking for someone to say, hey, let's put out a request for proposals. And I may not be the only one. There are other people that are qualified. So anyway, I just wanted to say it's West Durant Merchants Association. It's a very active group on the west side of town, 501c6. We're set up properly, we're managed properly, we got people in place. So
Well, Carol was asking why wasn't somebody here, apparently you showed up, so you
Yeah,
wanna ask him
so that was great.
questions now.
No,
totally
you're
improper.
laying it out. Yeah.
I can't come up here and make an RFP without you all asking
Yeah.
for one, right? That's not how it works. And not to mention the fact I'd be pitching to people that are holding the contract now, right, with the chamber.
Is
So
that a
doesn't make a lot of sense.
501c6 or a 501c3?
6.
Are you sure? You told me it was a
No,
501c3.
we're a 6. We're a business league, that chamber.
Okay.
So,
And really.
Did you say you were a chamber? I'm sorry.
no, I said we're a 501c6 like a chamber.
Like a chamber.
It's a business
Okay.
league
Okay.
designation, yeah, so.
And for me, just because I'm new, this is all new. So it's good for me to hear what you're saying and get a better grasp of what it is we're
Right.
doing and why we're doing it. I just
Well,
know.
I don't wanna be decisive. I've
Yeah.
told this story 100 times. We're all chamber members on the
Yeah.
west side of town. Every
Yeah.
one of us pay chamber dues.
Yeah.
Some of us pay it more than once, right?
Yeah.
So we're just an option.
Yeah.
That's all we are is an option. For whatever reason, this has never been voted on. It's been pushed off or delayed or whatever, and it's probably time for someone to stand up and say, we need an RFP. Someone needs to write the darn thing first.
It's been a
right?
problem too, though, when the city manager, we couldn't put out RFPs, the city had to put them out. So this has been
Okay.
a long process that
Right.
maybe you don't even know the process we've been through. About the city mowing the clover leaf, we couldn't put out any to
Yeah.
get bids on that. So it's more to the story than just the last 6 months,
Can I just do that?
that's all I'm saying.
I believe me, I understand that government runs at a slow pace. I get that, right? So, anyway,
Did you have some questions?
Not directly.
Yeah.
Just, you know, I'm still, it's a lot, especially for a first meeting.
right.
Again, I believe in RFPs. I do.
We use them
Um,
all the time at the hotel.
What's that?
We use them do them at the hotel all the time. I'm totally for RFP.
I believe in free enterprise, it's like that, this is not Cuba, this is America.
No, we should quit saying that.
Number
Because
two
we're-
is, I think that we ought to delay this vote, because what it is, when you got two members over here that haven't even looked at the contract, what are you voting for?
Yeah, I would like to, so my questions were more around the extension of the RFP and how does it get done? Who does it? Is it already written? What does that look like?
No, no, and no.
Then,
I don't
Well, yes,
so,
the RFP
Oh, yeah,
is-
we did it for them, but who originally came up with that one? Was that the city?
No, 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 that's
Clarify.
Jason, the attorney
Attorney
is the one
came
that
in for
handles
us,
that.
That's right.
He's the one that put out the advertising for it, he's the one that wrote the
That's right, that's
contract.
right.
He did that, we did not do any of that.
so the RFP, as it's written today, is the same one that would be used again? Yeah, it's, you
Not
can't answer
necessarily.
that, I'm just,
Not
Well,
necessarily.
The same
We were-
qualifications has been there for the last 5 years, we never changed anything, it's the same thing. I don't think, do you even know what it says? Qualifications to be
No.
management company? We're
So
going
I
on
would-
things that we
It's
don't even
in-
know anything about.
yeah,
It's
I would,
in a-
and that's the
I
reason
mean,
why I'm
it's
having a
on
hard
public
time
record.
voting either way, because
Yeah.
It's in
I-
all of our minutes.
So I would like to have some time to review that,
Yes.
right? Because I'm not against it or for it right now. I would want to see that, what it looks
You
like
need
and
to-
what were the requirements are.
Everybody needs to take a look at it again.
Agreed.
And you can give us all a copy, right?
It's actually in your handbook, I believe.
Oh,
It
the
is.
handbook.
It's also in the
You
minutes.
can text this to us.
The minutes are all
She gave you
posted.
a binder thing, and it's in there.
We should give us another one.
I think it's, stewards of a taxpayer dollar, it behooves you guys to take a look, right? Maybe it's not the right deal for you guys to change. I understand that. Maybe there's 6 people that wanna quote the darn thing. I don't know, right? There's a lot of 501(c)(3)s and 4s and 6s in Durant. It's open. If you put an RFP out, that means we want a request for a proposal to run this thing for the best price and the best people. And that's being a good steward of the taxpayer. So,
I agree.
that's our ask. That's all we're asking. All right, so, thanks for letting me run
Anybody,
in.
you got any more questions? Anybody got any more questions?
No, I think the questions come from the RFP and his answers come in the proposal. I mean, in the actual response.
Tell us what you
Right,
want,
so
yeah.
we're not going to, there's no reason to ask anything here today of what he plans to do or whatever, cause he doesn't know.
Well, I understand
Yeah.
that, but she was asking a while ago, what happened, they're not
Well-
showing up.
Yeah.
We need to see 'em and all
Well,
that,
and
so
that
that's
comes
why
from your
when we came in,
conversations.
We did that, yes.
And that comes from your conversations.
Yeah.
You're coming to us, brand new members of a board, telling us that you're having conversations that we aren't privy to or proxy to or have any information about what's going on. I didn't even know it was you. So,
Well,
how do I,
It's not, it's West Durant Merchants
yeah,
Association. I need to
how do I
make that
take
clear one more time.
what you're saying over and not understand the whole grasp of things, what we're doing? So, this is an awful lot for meeting number 1.
That's what man just said too, when you were out
Well, we've asked for an RFP for probably 5 or 6 months, I don't know.
And I
It's been pushed down the road, and finally they moved it 3 months to the end of the fiscal year.
Yeah.
We've asked the lawyer if it was ready, if it was done, and really haven't gotten any progress from there, so, I don't know, maybe another 3-month extension appropriate to give everybody time to get the thing put together and bid.
And I think that's where my frustration lies too, is if we started this whole process in January, why are brand new board members inheriting? Like, why are we just now getting to this? But that's a question for all of them.
Right.
It's fun for y'all to understand, but I think this thing needs to be tabled until everybody,
Yeah.
you need to be voting on what you have, and if you vote on stuff, you don't do that as a businessman, sure. I don't even come close to that, and you don't either.
No.
Because if they don't have the qualifications to get that loan, you're not gonna say, yeah, I'm gonna give it to you anyhow, and I don't know what you got in the bank, then have you.
You
fired
just
the
have a
next
penny?
day.
What, Jim? What? 1 penny? We'll do it.
But I think it needs to be tabled until everybody looks at it.
If y'all have any questions for me, I'm gonna go. I just wanted to kind of clarify who was speaking on the other end of the phone, so,
Okay.
appreciate your time.
Thanks, Eric.
Thank you.
For coming in.
So how do we delay this?
We should make a
Just-
motion to table it. You can table it for what, the next month?
I think that would not be
Do we have a motion on the table?
Yeah,
What's your-
we don't have to give a date yet, right? We can just table it, and then we'll decide the date.
There actually is a motion on the table, Debbie made it. Nobody seconded the motion, but there is a motion.
Well, nobody seconded, so
well, we have to do some action.
nobody's gonna second it, I'll make another motion to table it in the future.
I think we should table it. So, I'll second the table.
My only question is with the table, which I agree, we should table. We have to, I feel like we have to put some kind of a date on this to wrap this up and get this done,
Amen.
so that we're not still dealing with the same thing 6 months from now.
Yes. Let's go back, nothing changes with the current management company.
No.
When does the extension go through?
Through June the 30th.
There's 35 days on our contract.
And we can always extend it for another 3 to 6 months if we want.
Well, that's what we're trying to
We
avoid.
cannot extend it unless I take it back to my board of directors.
So are we voting on the tabling?
Well, we don't know. She can extend it until she takes it to the board of her directors, so I don't know.
Well, I mean, we're not voting on an extension,
Okay.
you're just voting to
To
table
to
the
table
it.
the thing.
So you
Made a motion.
had cleared up, so I guess that's 2. Trustee Anthony, I'm gonna abstain from this one. Trustee Patel? Trustee Thorpe?
Yes.
Trustee Reed?
Abstain.
Trustee Hunt?
Yes.
Trustee Kuykendall?
Yes.
Okay, on to Discover Durant Activity Report. We kinda had that one already, haven't we?
The monthly report is in here for the Facebook and website data. We already showed you the commercial and talked about Jefferson Highway. There's one more thing. The peanut time capsule reburial is June 14th. We were involved in that when we dug it up, so I just wanted to tell you we're putting it back in. And then if you look on your last page, that's your report from Choctaw Nation with the upcoming concerts.
That was June the 14th, putting it back in.
Debbie, I'm sorry, I am gonna have to excuse myself, I've got Magnolia Festival problems.
Oh, yes. Good luck with those.
What about the outdoor, okay, we go to the outdoor commercial next?
Well, we already saw
We
that.
already showed it.
Yeah.
So that's what I'm saying, her
So
activity
that's all
report
I
was
have.
kinda
Having
earlier.
more, okay, the next one?
Old business, any
No,
old business,
We're talking about the report from Choctaw Nation.
I
It's
just
our
showed you
last
that, it's on
page.
page 24.
and any upcoming concerts.
Do they ever say anything to you, the
No.
person that was supposed to be on the board here?
No, they don't even send me that, they just tell me to put it in there. So I search for their concerts and put it in there for them.
Well, that's
But no,
okay.
they do not help.
Okay.
That's what I always do. So I guess I'll make a motion to,
I'll make a motion to adjourn.
I'll second.
okay. Trustee Anthony, yes. Trustee Patel?
Yes.
Trustee Reed, yes. Trustee Thorpe?
Yes.
Trustee Hunt?
Yes.
Trustee Kuykendall?
Oh.
And Jim, just let you know, my brother still buys every single one of his cars.
You want?
Just let you know, my brother still